I am joined now by the MRS Vice-President Michael Fitzsimmons. Congratulations on your election to VP. Thank you for joining us. So what are some of the things that you're hoping to accomplish during your years in the MRS presidential line?
So what I had written about when I ran for this position was I wanted the organization to be even more inclusive of diversity of perspectives. And I've been reading books about this. One book is Radical Inclusion that's been written by General Dempsey. And in that book, he talks about how it's important to create memories. And that's what I think the MRS can do. It can create memories for the students when they first show up. And present their first talk or listen to their talks. It offers opportunities to present memories for people getting awards. And so if you can create these memories, then, for instance, the MRS will be at the forefront of their mind. And so when they write, a really good paper that they're very proud about, maybe they'll think about, gee, maybe I should present that at the fall or spring meeting.
Are there any challenges that MRS faces, or perhaps the concept of societies like MRS as a whole face, and how is MRS addressing some of those challenges?
So we have an issue with retention that's not unique to MRS. Other societies are seeing this as well. So I was delighted, before I became vice president, to find out that the board has created a new strategic goal of engaging members across the entire career spectrum, from students to postdocs to middle career, and then senior people, and so we're doing things to do that. So that would involve creating new awards. It could be adopting some ideas that our Mexican counterparts are doing in selecting posters to be presented at. What they're doing is at the Cancun meeting, but maybe we could institute something like that as well for the fall or spring meeting.
I know diversity has been and continues to be a focus of the society. Tell us about the importance of diversity in MRS leadership, award winners, membership.
Yes, so that's part of being inclusive you want to be inclusive of a diversity of perspectives, okay? And so one of the things that we're doing is we've changed, the awards committee chair has done a great deal of effort to change the composition of the subcommittees so that there are equal numbers of men and women, equal numbers of international and US representatives on these subcommittees. So that removes, as best we can, the bias from the committee. And that takes time because the committee members serve for about 3 years. So it takes some time to have that all rolled off, but that has happened now. So one of the challenges that we have is that the pool of nominees is not terribly diverse. And I wish I wish I could give you a good answer for that, because that continues to be a challenge for science and engineering and the mathematics, that probably only about 26% of the people are either female or underrepresented minorities. And so when the pool is small, that creates an additional challenge. So we've got to figure out how to get more women and more underrepresented minorities engaged in science, and so that could involve some outreach.
What about youth? How does MRS engage its younger members, and what are the benefits to a young scientist to engage with MRS? So
I would say primarily it is being mentored, or finding people to mentor. So that I am 57 years old now, and I still have mentors, and I think that's It's important to have people that you can go and confide when you've got problems and get some guidance. And an advisor, a graduate student advisor, is one of the mentors. But as your career develops, you need to have new mentors. And that's an opportunity that students can get here, and we also can give them training with Alina Levine, for instance. We've hired to do some career development workshops during the lunch hour. So that's one way of giving the students more training. I think the other issue too is that I think mentors don't often realize how much time it takes to be a good mentor. And mentors themselves probably need additional training, but it's not something you can just take a 1-hour seminar and become expert at. It's something that has to develop. It's a process. And so as students come here, they can learn the steps about and recognize what a good mentor looks like. And then, you know, the postdocs, they can start mentoring the students. And so we've got a new chair of the Academic Affairs Committee who's going to be standing up a committee on young professional development. And that's going to be part of what we're going to be striving to do.
Well, congratulations once again on your election, and we certainly appreciate you joining us. Thank you, MRS Vice President Michael Fitzsimmons.
Thank you.